again.
Okay, good evening. I am Mayor Pam Panzenbeck, chairperson of the Glen Cove Industrial Development Agency and Local Economic Assistance Corp. It is Tuesday, May 10th, and we are holding tonight's meeting via Microsoft Teams with a call-in option, audio only, 1-929-229-5717. Please be advised, 62935019 to get onto the meeting. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded. Let us call the meeting to order at 6:06 p.m. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Dave Jimenez,
Here.
John Fielding,
Here.
Grady Farnan,
Present.
Jim Capiello,
Here.
Vice Chair Hartley,
Here.
and Chairperson Panzenbeck.
I'm here. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the IDA LEAC meeting held at 4/12/22 and ask for a second.
I'll second that.
Vincent Hartley.
Motion seconded by Vincent Hartley. Are there any questions about the minutes? Will the secretary please poll the board?
Dave Jimenez,
Aye.
John Fielding,
Aye.
Grady Farnan,
Aye.
Jim Capiello,
Aye.
Vice Chair Hartley,
Vincent Hartley approves the minutes.
and Chairperson Panzenbeck.
Aye. Motion carried. Will Ann Fangman please provide the members with their executive director's report?
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all tonight. Just going to go over a few updates. You'll remember that back in January at our annual meeting, we approved a pilot extension for Janet Lane, Stanley Park. Since the IDA board approval of the pilot extension, the documents for closing, including the amendment to the sublease and pilot agreement, are currently under review. Millen, I expect that closing to happen by the end of the month. You think it'll occur in May?
Yes, I do. I think they're ready, and we need to get it done fairly quickly to alert the affected tax jurisdictions. So my answer is yes.
Good. So that's all in progress. Livingston, construction on the property began in the spring. The merger of 135 Glen Cove Avenue Corp. With MBI has not yet occurred. You may recall that was another item on your docket back in January that was approved. MBI will be the main contractor on site in the initial phases of construction. They will be leading the excavation, supportive excavation, and the concrete installation on the property, including the foundation, garage, and podiums. And again, I'll turn to Millen to see if we have any updates on that closing.
We do not, although I'm now skeptical that that's going to happen. My understanding from Livingston's attorney is that they are now looking at other possible sources of financing. So if so, then they have to come back to us again and get new approval for anything else that they do. So nothing new has happened, and that tells me that they're looking for different financing somehow.
Wow, we spent some time on that too. So what happens with those bills and the time incurred by the IDA? I mean, I guess we could talk about that offline, but I think that has to get settled up.
My answer is they asked for consent. We bothered the board, so they get hit for a consent fee or two if they come back with something else. And obviously the legal fees just pile up and they pay those. So my position is every time we go to the board, even if they change their mind, it's another consent fee. But again, we can discuss that offline if you like.
Yeah, so keep me posted on that because I want to make sure that we at least put in for the consent fee for going through the trouble of putting it on the January agenda because we did do that fairly quickly. Okay, well, thank you for that update, Millen. Moving on to 50 Glen Partners, the closing on assignment and assumption of the IDA assistance from 50 Glen Partners LLC to 50 Glen Realty LLC occurred February 23rd. And IDA staff has been in contact with the new ownership of the property. Garvey's Point, work at the new Garvey's Point Brewery is close to completion. The ongoing maintenance agreement and amendment to the CCA were finally executed by all parties. a little bit earlier this year. The planning board public hearing for RXR's PUD amendment remains open. The agreement to engage CMA that the board had approved, CMA's agreement has not yet been executed. Quite frankly, that's because we have not yet reached an agreement with RXR on payment. So that remains outstanding, although we are still in talks with RXR. The Marina letter agreement was executed as you last saw it in form, and the marketing materials and slip applications were developed by RXR, and we all have been doing a joint effort between RXR, the city, and the agencies to help post and distribute those materials. In regard to Village Square, lease for a specialty gift shop, Truby Hill, has been executed. And finally, Chairperson Panzenbach, the Deputy Mayor, and I met with Local Labor 66 regarding a number of items, including a Long Island First policy recently adopted by the Suffolk County IDA. And just to give the board members a flavor for what that policy is, although I can distribute it once I receive the updated policy, is that it would place more of an onus on projects that are approved by the IDA to, in the first instance, make best efforts to bring Long Island labor, especially very local labor, to the project, and they would have to do some additional documentation showing that they went through a best efforts process. It also includes things like, placing their bids on the IDA website when they go out to procure contractors, and some other procedures that, would be adding a few layers to try to bolster an effort to bring on local laborers. I will say that Pam, our chairperson, was generally supportive for the proposal, as was I. But we did mention that, we would obviously need to review the latest rendition with legal counsel. We would need to make sure, for one thing, that it doesn't contain any language contradictory to our current policies and procedures. We would need to have it reviewed by the IDA board members. And another item I mentioned, and I think this is an important one, Millen, is I would want to know the willingness of the Nassau County IDA to support the policy, because I think that we probably wouldn't go out on our own as a small IDA and adopt this policy first. I would think that we'd want to see that the Nassau County IDA had a willingness and was working toward, approving that policy. I mean, I think similar to the way Suffolk County adopted the policy first, and then we'll have to see if any of the other Suffolk County IDAs now follow suit.
Yep, I'm happy to work with you on that.
And with that, I don't have any other updates.
Thank you very much. Will Margot Zoldesi please provide the members with her financial report?
Sure. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The financial results for the IDA are budget to actual for the period of January through April. The following is a summary of the revenue versus the expenses. The total revenue for January through April is $85,000 versus the $511,000 budget. The expenses for salaries are $60,000 versus $162,000 as per the budget. Professional expenditures are $48,000 as compared to the annual budget of $343,000. Other expenses are $1,000 versus $4,000 as compared to the budget. Thus far, there is an operating loss of $23,000. Please keep in mind, much of the revenue comes from project closings and has the ability to fluctuate throughout the year. In terms of the Glen Cove Local Economic Assistance Corporation, there have been no changes. The admin fees were $2,000 compared to the budget of $2,000. Admin expenses of $2,000 versus the budget of $2,000, and interest income of $44 versus the budget of $1,500. So that was the summary of January through April. So please let me know if you have any questions.
No questions.
Thank you so much.
Do we have any unfinished business this evening?
No, we do not. Just one item for new business.
Okay, we have one item for discussion under new business this evening. One, the license agreement with Eastern Star Cruises, Inc., authorizing recreational cruises from the Glen Cove Ferry Terminal from May 1st, 2022, and ending April 30th, 2023. At this time, I'd like to ask Ann Fangman and/or Millen Tyler to provide the members with an overview on this new business item.
I'll take it in the first instance. Some of our IDA board members might recall a few years back, Eastern Star had approached the city for the operation of some recreational cruises from the Glen Cove Ferry Terminal. Subsequent to that, New York State DOT and FHWA had approved that use as well as an interim, until we have full scale commuter ferry service, and maybe even continuing after that. That lease agreement was renegotiated, and the city decided to keep the IDA as a signing party. We are the owner and title of the Glen Cove Ferry Terminal, although the city has a 99-year long-term lease. So for all intents and purposes, we will go along with, what the city feels is the best use of the property. This will, have our indemnities and insurance coverage incorporated within, and is very similar to the agreement that was executed a few years back, although Pam, let me know if I'm saying this incorrectly, but I think the fee may have gone up slightly for the city in the renegotiation.
I'm unsure.
Okay. It's
Okay.
very
I
similar.
think it went-
content.
yeah. I'm sorry, I think it went up slightly from the
Very
$15,000 that it started at last time. So this, I think, is the sort of the continuation of those gradual increases.
I will find out and let you know, okay?
Okay.
And we did make this resolution retroactive because the city council had approved the agreement on the April 26th city council meeting. And Eastern Star has been there at the dock, taking advantage of this arrangement for some years. So, I didn't feel it was inappropriate to put it on retroactively.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions?
How much, what kind of insurance are they putting on this to cover us?
$1 million combined limit of liability per occurrence and $4 million in the aggregate. That's quite honestly a little bit less than our standard, but it's what the city has approved. So again, we went along with it, and especially from the IDA's perspective, Vince, since we're the fee title owner, I don't think there's a material risk from the IDA's perspective, even if something happens, because we don't even run the marina. So I did not have a problem with the 1 million, 4 million numbers.
Okay, are there any questions about IDA Resolution 6A? If there are no further questions, may I have a second to adopt IDA Resolution 6A?
Seconded by Vincent Hartley.
Motion seconded by Vincent Hartley. Will the secretary please poll the board?
Dave Jimenez,
I vote aye.
John Fielding,
Aye.
Grady Farnan,
Aye.
Jim Capiello,
Aye.
Vice Chair Hartley,
I vote aye.
and Chairperson Panzenbeck.
I vote aye. Motion carried. If there is no further business, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting and ask for a second.
Seconded by Vincent Hartley.
Motion seconded by Vince Hartley. Will the secretary please poll the board?
Dave Jimenez,
I vote aye.
John Fielding,
Aye.
Grady Farnan,
Aye.
Jim Capiello,
Aye.
Vice Chair Hartley,
I vote aye.
and Chairperson Panzenbeck.
I vote aye. Motion carried and the meeting is adjourned at 6:20 p.m.
Nice.
Thank
Really
you.
nice.
We may have
Thanks,
set a record for
everyone.
shortest meeting.
Very good.